I'm back, baby. Now, if you have wondered where I've been for the past couple of weeks, it has been because YouTube gave me a BS second strike on my channel, which meant that I could not upload, post, or stream for 2 weeks on YouTube. And if you didn't know about it, it's because you weren't following me on all the other tech platforms that I'm on. Listen, guys, I don't talk about things like Locals or Odyssey or Rockfin or even Twitter or any of these other things for my health. I talk about them because you need to be following creators you like on multiple platforms, so when YouTube pulls shenanigans and they disappear for weeks at a time, you're going to be up to date, you're going to know what's going on, you're not going to miss out, all that good stuff. I've gotten emails from some of you guys, I've gotten comments, Carlin, where are you? Are you okay? Why aren't you posting? Well, guys, guess what? If you were in my locals, which is right down below me in every video, if you were in my locals, you would have known exactly what was going on, and you would never have to worry about me being censored or banned for nonsense. But let's just back up a second and talk about exactly what YouTube did, because this is some bullshit. Let me tell you what. This is some bullshit. I documented this all fully on my Substack, carlin.substack.com. I will link this in the description below so you can go and see all the documentation for yourself about what exactly YouTube did, because I have caught them in the act of absolute nonsense. So let me go. This is just some preface stuff about how YouTube constantly unsubscribes people from my channel. See, by the way, if you think you're subscribed to my channel, double check, because you can see all these people tell me on social media all the time, I'm being unsubscribed from your channel. I'm being unsubscribed from your channel. Even Gabrielle Clark, who you guys know from this channel, I've talked about her story many times. She is the mom suing her son's high school out in Nevada. Gabrielle Clark would never unsubscribe to my channel, and yet YouTube magically unsubscribed her. But that's a different thing. What I want to talk about starts 2 weeks ago with my last live stream of Effed Up News of the Week. Now, Effed Up News of the Week is a segment I've started doing on Sunday evenings just because, there's a lot of news that comes up during the week that I can't always just get to or don't have a chance to talk about that's like really messed up. And so I put it all in one show. I call it Effed Up News of the Week. Normally it's on Sundays at 5 p.m. Today, on Monday, September 6th, I'm going to be doing it today at 5 p.m. because I was doing something else yesterday and I didn't have my YouTube channel back, but I have it back now. So you can join us today for a special Monday edition of Effed Up News of the Week. But we're going to go back 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago to when I was streaming Effed Up News of the Week, and I covered a story about how the University of Virginia is disenrolling unvaccinated students. The University of Virginia is a land-grant university. It is a public university. A land-grant university means basically that the way that the university got their land back in the day was that the public gave them the land. That's what a land-grant university is. There are a lot of land-grant universities out there, like the University of Vermont, I believe, is a land-grant university. The Ohio State University is a land-grant university. But anytime you hear a land-grant university, it's like for me, I frame it as even like more public than a public university, because the public literally gave the university the land on which they're currently built to start their university way, way back in the day. Anyway, so University of Virginia, land-grant university, public university funded by the taxpayer, disenrolled students for not getting the jab. And I talked about this in Effed Up News of the Week, and I even said during the segment, I was like, I'm going to get a strike for this. I know I'm going to get a strike for this. And I was kind of being facetious. I didn't think I would actually get a strike for covering a story that had been covered in The Hill and reading a story directly out of The Hill, which is like, so far as YouTube is concerned, a fairly respectable publication. And so what happens during the live streams normally is that they always get demonetized. Always. Mid-live stream, they always get demonetized. But what I always do is I send the live stream for a human review. And that way I can get my live streams remonetized. Now, YouTube has actually monetized almost every single thing on my channel all year long, and I haven't even gone back to last year, but throughout 2020, there are very, very few things on my channel that YouTube has demonetized. So I was kind of like, okay, well, let's just toss a coin. Let's just see what's what. And sure enough, I woke up the next day, and you can see I got this email sent at 5:37 a.m. the following day, the day after the stream, where I was concerned I was going to get a strike for the stream. And they said, "Hi, Carlin Borisenko. Great news. After manually reviewing your video, we've determined that it is suitable for all advertisers. Effed up news of the week, you can see that. That meant that a human being at YouTube manually went in and reviewed my stream and said, not only does it not violate our terms of service, it's actually appropriate for advertisers. So I was like, okay, it's got the little green dollar sign next to it. I'm going to cut up this stream and make some clips because that's just an efficient way to work. I talked about a bunch of stories, then I'll cut them up and I'll make clips of the stories. Well, guess what happened? Within 15 minutes of me posting the same story that YouTube had manually reviewed and had declared was safe for monetization, a clip of that story. There was nothing edited, nothing added to it. It was just a clip from the stream that they had already manually reviewed, was given a second strike on my channel for medical misinformation when I was reading an article out of the Hill articulating a story that they had covered. And so what that meant was that I couldn't stream or post or do anything on YouTube for 2 weeks, lost 2 weeks worth of revenue over content that they had already approved. Now that content is still available in my locals community. We'll talk more about locals in a second, but the absolute irony of this, and this was a screenshot that I took at the time because the original stream, the original effed up news of the week was still left up for days after this. For days after this. The original stream, you can see it has the little green icon next to it. The original stream that this was a clip from was left up for flipping days after YouTube gave me a strike for a clip from that stream. And the reason it was left up is because it was manually reviewed. And then I went and I threw a big giant hissy fit on the internet and I wrote this article about how YouTube are setting people up to be banned, which I really think I've proven because, listen, man, if YouTube manually reviews content, manually approves content, what am I as a creator supposed to think? What am I as a creator supposed to think? Is it fair to anyone that I then got punished for a clip of the content that YouTube had already manually reviewed and approved? And if they'll do it with something like this, they will do it for something else. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I have absolutely no doubt that I'm going to get banned from YouTube at some point. And I think that's ridiculous because I'm like one of the most reasonable, freaking moderate people on this flipping platform. Honestly, if you compare me to some of the leftists in BreadTube or some of the crazy right-wingers, I am an incredibly moderate, centrist person. I am very reasonable. I don't talk about conspiracy theories. I don't talk about crazy shit. And yet I was given a strike on my channel for reading an article out of The Hill for content that YouTube had already manually reviewed and approved. So I have no doubt that I'm going to get banned at some point. Maybe it's like the reasonable people are the most dangerous to them. And like you have the crazies on both sides and it's cool to let the crazies fight, but maybe the reasonable people are actually the most dangerous. Who the heck knows? But I threw a massive hissy fit on the internet about this. I was like, and so here's the thing, like I don't make enough money off of YouTube for me to have anyone to contact on YouTube. So like I have no one there that I can reach out to and say, this is kind of bullshit. You guys manually reviewed this content. The only thing I have is public complaining and hoping that people put enough pressure on YouTube where they actually grow a pair and do the right thing. So sadly, that didn't work in this case. I tried, I fought the good fight, but listen, man, if you aren't going to stick up for people when YouTube does bullshit, then you are only encouraging YouTube to do more bullshit. That is freaking on everyone. I'm sorry. The fact that big tech can get away with this stuff over and over and over and over and over again is because we allow them to. So just as a little update for this, after I threw a massive hissy fit on the internet and wrote this Substack article blatantly proving that YouTube is setting their creators up to ban them, the epilogue to... Oh, by the way, YouTube has never actually answered the question. Well, the epilogue, let me get to the epilogue first. The epilogue is that they actually ended up removing the original stream as well, but they were benevolent about it. They were like, we're not going to give you another strike for the content they already manually reviewed and approved. But the other thing I want to point out is that YouTube never actually answered the question about how can content that you manually review and approve then end up getting a strike. They refused to answer this question. They would just say stuff like, we understand this is incredibly important to you. Our policy team has already taken another look at your content and have confirmed that the decision will be upheld. It doesn't answer the question. The question was, how precisely do you explain that you manually reviewed this content and approved it? They refused to answer this question. So guys, listen, I'm going to be honest. When I originally got onto locals, I heard Dave Rubin talk about how like the future is these little communities with around with like-minded people, that was the future of how the internet was going to be able to be productive. And I was kind of like, I don't know about that, Dave. Like I was on board with there needs to be a place where people can feel safe posting content where they know it won't be censored. I was totally on board with that. But this experience with YouTube where I was banned for 2 weeks for content that they had manually reviewed and approved, and there was no recourse, there was nothing I can do, there is nothing that you can say to me that can convince me that my channel will not get banned at some point. So guys, come on. It's time. If you have not joined my locals yet, now is the time. Now, this is my support page in locals, but locals is free to join. It is free. If you go to kb.locals.com right now, you can join my community. You can see what's going on in the community. You can see public posts I make in the community. You can lurk. You can see what people are talking about. You can decide if it's right for you. At least you're in the community. At least you have a way that if YouTube does bullshit like this and I can't post and give an update about what's going on, you have a place where you know I won't be censored, where you know you'll be able to get the most up-to-date information from me. Now, if you want to go one step further and become a member, which gives you access to all the features and locals, it gives you access to our Zoom calls that we do twice a week, it gives you access to our book club, our debate club, our crafting bitches, all our community Discord channel, it gives you access to like all these things, then that comes at a cost of $5 a month or an annual cost of $50 a year, or you can make a one-time donation as well if you would like to, but you don't have to. My biggest thing at this point is just to get you on the platform. So if you just go to kb.locals.com, the link is in the description below, and just join as a free member. Doesn't have to cost you anything. I don't want any more excuses. No more excuses, guys. If you are refusing to get off of the big tech platforms and support creators on alternate platforms, then you get what you effing deserve. To be very honest, listen, I am on locals, I am on Rockfin, I am on Odyssey, I'm even on Rumble on occasion, even though I think Rumble is shit, but maybe it'll get better, who the hell knows. But like, I'm actually on all these platforms, and I hear from people all the time, why aren't you on these platforms? Why aren't you on these platforms? Why aren't you on these platforms? Well, I am on these platforms, you just haven't looked at for me on them, and you're not even using them. This is the thing, guys, this is the thing, like, with this 2-week ban, people were like, Carla, why don't you just do it on Odyssey? Well, guess what? No one effing uses Odyssey. I'm sorry, like, I know Odyssey is like a really great YouTube alternative. I get it. There are people that use Odyssey, but if you're not going to watch people on there, then like if I'm going to get like not even a quarter of the views on Odyssey that I get on YouTube because people refuse to go on alt tech platforms, then what do you want me to do? You haven't incentivized me at all to get on these alt tech platforms because you're not on there using them. I would love nothing more than to be able to tell YouTube to fuck off today. And maybe with the way locals is building out, and I do have some insight into their plans in the future, they're basically going to they're going to have basically every feature YouTube has in the future. So maybe that'll be an actual alternative. But like, if you guys really want like me to tell YouTube to F off, then you need to actually be on other platforms. And if you're not going to do that, then why would you expect me to give up a chunk of my revenue, of my income? And it's not an insignificant chunk. It's not the biggest chunk, but it's not an insignificant chunk either. We're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars a month. Why would I leave YouTube if I have nowhere to go where people are actually watching content? We all play a role in this. We all do. I put my content on multiple platforms. All of my content is in locals. All of my content is ad-free in locals. You don't even have to watch ads. Even as a free member of locals, you don't have to watch ads on my content in locals. Okay? All of my content is there. All of my content is on Rockfin. All of my content is on Odyssey. Some of my content is on Rumble, depending on what I feel like uploading to Rumble, because I still think Rumble sucks pretty bad. But all of my content is on alternate platforms. So it's readily available. You just got to go find it. That's all I have, guys. Hope to see you in locals really, really soon.